Okay, some of us are here, so we'll get going. I am recording this and I will be posting this because this is really sort of an assignment. First of all, it's going to be shorter than what I thought. I guess if there's a silver lining in this, I realized just 10 minutes ago that on the 40 questions, I didn't have a reconstruction question. So that's what our practice is today. So my hope was that we were going to do just to refresh our memories on reconstruction, and then go off and do the DBQ. So obviously I'm going to update that for next year. So we'll be fine. So this will be a little bit shorter. I appreciate that all of you are choosing me over Lin-Manuel Miranda, or maybe you might be done by that time. But if you didn't see the video from yesterday, Mr. Miranda will be joining the AP review at 11. So I don't know if we'll be done by then, but they record it, so which is kind of cool. I know when Hamilton was at its peak, the day of the test, they did like a good luck message on Twitter and stuff like that. The whole cast. So it was kind of it was pretty cool. So that's neat that they're doing it. Couple things regarding next week, just to plan yourself out. We're going to meet again Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll try to keep plugging along with these 40 questions. You know, one thing I would say is there's some, I'm looking for some questions from some people and I still don't have them. So just make sure that if you've done them, that they are shared with me so I have access to them. Secondly, I know the amount of review packets are, I don't want to say overwhelming. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But this is the weekend in which you kind of need to make a dent in it. This is the weekend before the test is the weekend I usually recommend to. I always tell the story. We would often be up at our place up north this weekend, and I would literally lock my daughters in the boathouse to study, like all day. I didn't lock them in, but I would bring them food and stuff like that. But it was the idea was they were focusing exclusively on their AP material. Now I know you guys have other AP classes to prepare for, but my point is this is a weekend. This is a time where you need to go a little bit above and beyond of what you're normally doing. I know it's going to be a beautiful weekend and all that stuff. I'm not saying you have to spend all day in there, but you need to get some of these review packets done. The little bit of feedback I had from a couple students was that they're good. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this. Well, that's the idea of a review. So we need to get that stuff down, just so you're covered with the content before we get to next Friday, or 2 Fridays. I'm sorry. So I know it stinks, but that's the deal. And remember, also, after May 15th, the amount of stuff that I'm going to ask for you is minimum. And in fact, my big problem is figuring out what to do with you guys for a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's going to be minimal. So all I'm asking you for 2 more weeks of solid effort, and they're going to pay off. And you've heard me say this multiple times. You know, I hate for you to go through all of the stuff that I made you do all through the year, all the nonsense, if you would think of it that way, and I'd come out at the end with some sort of reward. You know, you're going to be better students for it, but I also want you to get credit, and I want you to get 6 credits. So so understand that's my point of view regarding this. So I'm gonna drive you a little bit. I may already have been driving you now, but understand what it's from. It's not cruelty or meanness or anything like that. I mean, I may be mean, but you guys know me. I want you to do well. So you have to make the decision and say, yep, I'm going to sit down and get period 5 packet done today or Saturday or Sunday. And then you can piecemeal it the rest of the time. But so that being said, next week we'll be meeting Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, normal time. We'll continue with some of our 40 questions. We'll have some different review activities. I did schedule for sure, if you want to write this down, I'm going to be sending out the invite today, a Kahoot. Now, I have no idea what Kahoot is. I've never used it, but my buddy, Mr. Leiden in Georgia, has done it. He's created it. So we are going to have like a quiz between our Germantown students, Evans High School in Augusta, Georgia, and a small private school in Chicago at 3:15. And I'm assuming if anyone can explain Kahoot, that you can somehow type your answers in or something like that. So I'm going to work on that this weekend to have that all set up. So if you can put that in your calendar, it's not required. If you want to show up, do some review activity. And as I said to, I don't know if I said this in the video yesterday, I told my buddy, Mr. Leiden, I said, this is going to be like Sherman's March through Georgia. We're going to destroy you guys. So whether, if we get 2 people or 10 people or 20 people, it doesn't matter. It's going to be fun. You're going to be able to interact in a different manner. And again, that's 3:15 on Wednesday. So Wednesday will be a sort of a double dip for us. I would like to also set up some things on Tuesday and Thursday of next week using the program Menti. I mentioned that. And I'm just basically looking for a suggestion on a time for that. I don't know if we want to go in the morning, if we want to go in the afternoon. I know Tuesday, I believe I don't want to go I want to keep away from the evenings because I have a mentor session on Tuesday and stuff like that. So if you have a suggestion, if anyone has a suggestion, well, you can email it to me. But I'll think about that and I'll set up, I'll record those as well. I think I can record those. So it's just a different way of reviewing and an attempt to be a little bit more interactive. I said this has been challenging, but again, this part of the year is really what I enjoy and get excited about, and it's really hard to get excited sitting in an extra spare bedroom staring at a computer. So we need some interaction there, I think. So that being said, were there those of you who got to see the video from yesterday, I know I was sort of rambling in terms of the technology and strategy for the AP test. Were there any major questions or things that I was trying to explain that didn't make any sense, or questions that you had from yesterday? Okay. Oh, the other thing is I just got my reading invite. So I'm going to be reading essays. I am a table leader, so I don't know what that entails. I've never done it, but so that's kind of cool for me. I'll actually be doing this in June. So the reading starts, I think the date was June 13th. So you won't know your scores until, well, you have a pretty good idea of the scores because I'm going to get them on May 26th. So you have a very good idea. By that point, you'll get an early read on it. Aside, with a qualifier that I haven't been trained on it yet, but I kind of have an idea. So that's kind of cool. So if there's no questions regarding that, one last thing before we get to the DBQ today. You know, the AP kids or the AP Euro kids just asked me for some extra material. Unless you guys want it, I'm not giving you anything extra. You got enough to do. If there's if someone is a go-getter and's got everything done and is looking for something to do, email me individually and I can email you some. I got plenty of stuff for you to do, but I think you have more than enough. And again, remember that's what you need to have with you the day of the test so that you can refer to it a little bit. So if there's no other questions, we're going to walk through the activity today. Again, as a precursor, my hope would be that once I get you guys get off the call, you transition right into this activity to get it done and out of the way. You don't have to. I set the due date for Sunday night. But again, the key component of this is timing. What I'm thinking, what we kind of have to develop is an overall plan of attack for this question, but it also is going to heavily depend on how quickly you get through the documents. So it's sort of more individualized. So for example, if you find yourself, I'm setting this time at 25 minutes. If, however, you discovered that you did 35 minutes, that's fine. I want you to do a good job on it. That means going forward, when we start doing live DBQs next week, full DBQs next week, you're going to have to balance that out. You're going to have to basically not worry about one part of the rubric. You may not be able to get to the counter argument if it's taking you that long to read. On the other hand, you may get a question that you've done in your 40 questions and you got the answer right there. Well, guess what? Then you can do everything. You can try to do through everything. So it's sort of fluid. But again, it's more for my sake than anything is getting a sense of the timing for this. So again, we're not going to do contextualization today. We're going to do thesis. We're going to group the documents, and I'll show you this in just a second, to formulate the argument. And then we're trying to come up with 2 pieces of outside evidence. So that's the goal. That's the goal for 25 minutes. Is it doable? I don't know. We'll see. So the main thing is I want you to do a good job. So if it takes you 30 minutes, it takes you 30 minutes. I don't care. I just want a good job. You're only going to have to cap 2 documents this time, so that'll be easier. You have to describe all 5, okay, in the context of your argument. So that being said, let me show you the question here. And so here we go. So the question is, in what ways and to what extent did constitutional and social developments between 1860 and 1877 amount to a revolution? Okay, how revolutionary was the Civil War and Reconstruction, basically? So you have to make a choice here, and this leads very easily into grouping the documents. Constitutionally, socially, yes, it was a revolution. Constitutionally, socially, no, it was a counter-revolution, you could argue. So that's sort of the takeaway. So we see document A, I don't know why it came out like that, Lincoln's second inaugural, with malice towards none, with charity for all, that famous line. We have an example of the South Carolina Black Code, okay, which, again, you guys should be familiar with a lot of this stuff because many of you did your own DBQs on this. Famous Thomas Nast cartoon, this is a white man's country. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And I would say that's a pretty clear picture of that. Again, if you want, before you start the timing, if you want to go look at that picture in more detail, you can, but you really don't need to. I don't know why this isn't coming out like that. The 14th Amendment, excerpt from the 14th Amendment. And then document E is a firsthand account from a opinion piece from a Kansas newspaper. And that one may be the most challenging. You have to think about that one. I'm not going to give you any more hints on that, but that's alluding to something, some event of this time period. So I stuck that one in there. I'm kind of proud of it. So I don't know, you guys may hate me, but so be it. So what are you doing with this? So again, spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes reading the documents, write your thesis, and then using the documents, trying to use all 5. I only put 4 in here just as an example. Whatever side that you take, and I would suggest just doing a T-chart and saying, yes, revolution, no revolution. Documents 1, 3, and 5 say yes, documents 2 and 4 say no, or some measure of that. And that's how you begin your grouping process. So once you get them grouped in your head, describe documents, describe them to me. And for each side of the argument, my suggestion would be to cap just one of them on either side. It doesn't have to be that way. You can cap, if you have 2 documents that are supporting one side of your argument, you can cap both of those and just describe the other ones. It doesn't matter. But the rubric says you need to cap 2 documents. You need to describe 4. I'm recommending 5. I think all 5 of these are very easily described, okay, or summarized. So this is going to look a little bit more like a paper, so to speak. And then lastly, space down a couple, and in 2 sentence descriptions, talk about outside evidence. So each one needs to be 2 sentences. It's not a paragraph, but my suggestion would be to make a statement and explain it. Make a statement and explain it, and sort of how it relates to the question as well. So again, this is the complicated. Last week was easy. Last week just straightforward. This you have to put some things into. There's more moving parts, so to speak. But again, we're going to have to do this in 2 weeks with context, with other things as well. So that's the task for today. Again, if you can do it now, great. I would, while it's fresh in your mind, you're relatively awake, go at it. The assignment is up and turn it in already. These 2 documents are already been shared with you in Schoology, so you have access to it. If you can't do it right now, again, it needs to be timed. I really want you to get a sense of timing of how long this is going to take you. Again, this is practice, this is review, but again, the more we have a sense that of how long it's taking you to do these things, the less stressful it will be on the 15th, and therefore you're probably going to do better if you're not all stressed out about it. So any questions regarding this activity or anything else for that matter? Is there any time, before I let you go, is there any time on like Tuesday, Thursday to do a review thing that is like completely unworkable for, I don't even know what it is AP Lit or whatever English class, that is their time that I can't tread on? Or bio, whatever, chemistry, I don't know. I don't want to step on other AP teachers' toes, but Okay. Well, I'll set some times that can be set a time that's convenient. And if you can make it, you can make it. If not, that's fine. The other thing what I'm planning on doing anyway is the week of the test, because I have to go through and see who's taking what. I will try to adjust the times for that so that you can do both, but it would be more in the review, kind of question and answer kind of thing. So again, next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:45. Wednesday, 3:15, the multi-school Kahoot quiz competition. And then you'll also see something via Tuesday or Thursday from me. That you have today's task of the DBQ. I will say we will be doing probably, at least for sure, we're going to do 2 full DBQs next week, timed. So I'll probably cut some of your review time down there, but I think we need to do this a couple times. I think I mentioned this as well. You'll hear me talking about the AP demo that I want you to do. And maybe we can even walk through that. So we have a lot of stuff going on. So it's really, really important that you take care of business in terms of the content stuff. So this is the drill. These couple weeks are hectic. Even though we're doing it at home, you're doing it in your bedroom or your basement or whatever, we still got to get it done. So if there's no other questions, I will let you go, and everything's shared with you. So I'll see you Monday. And if you have an individual question, you can hang around. Thanks.
Just for clarification,